Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. I've actually gotten some feedback about the name in DMs and on Twitter and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, yes, this was intended to be satirical. Anyhow, so today we're going to do the review of the April 22nd, 2020 Dynamite show for AEW. We'll hop right into that at the end of the show. I will give you a little bit of background on what else we're going to do. Several audios today, probably 4 or 5 or so would be my guess. But for right now, we're going to focus on the AEW event of last evening. So it opens with Cody doing a video package. He is handicapped by the remaining competitors in the TNT title tournament. He's excited that 33 years of wrestling comes to a culmination with the television, with the TNT championship, and he's, routinely Cody is, I would say, one of, if not the best promo in pro wrestling right now, maybe outside of Jake Roberts, perhaps, but I don't think that's fair. The bygone era is certainly the best promo of the modern era. Then Jericho and Shivani preview the rest of the program. Sammy Guevara video package play. Sammy, he's got some arrogant promo. I love him in the ring. I love him as a talent. I think he's got probably one of the top 5 upsides in all of AEW. Certainly all of non-WWE talent. But I don't particularly care for his lackey to Jericho persona. The only reason that is I think, I don't know, maybe if he was trying to stand on his own and helped Jericho when it helped him, that would be good. I think him being a lackey at this point, being, to me, Darby Allen is the standout standout guy of the promotion. Darby Allen is the guy I think that 5 years from now we'll be talking about them building around. And legitimately, I think he'll have a mainstream level as best you can in 2020 following for pro wrestling. But Guevara is a close second to that. I just don't know that him being in a subservient role to Jericho is in his best interest if you're going to want to build around him in the future. Anyhow, Darby Allen video package plays, not in black and white. Allen vows to win. He's, rather cryptic. It's interesting. I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard that he is a film guy. Either went to school for film or wanted to go to school for film, learned a lot about film, that sort of thing, and it shows here he's always creative with the visuals of his promo packages, and I know just from watching that they're hands-on, and that's a good thing. Let's see. Beautiful match between Guevara and Allen. Surprised that Darby goes over in the match, but at the same time, I think Darby going further in the tournament is good for him. Again, it speaks to him being one of the faces of the promotion. It is a good follow-up to their Revolution pay-per-view bout. Not quite as good, but I don't know that you can do, that feud justice in an empty arena environment. Guevara makes an attack right as Allen makes the entrance, takes a minute to get into the ring, use of a ladder and sets the ladder up and bridges it to the apron barricade, and then placed Allen on the ladder. Guevara hits a splash from the top rope through the ladder. I'm not a fan of big spots like this. However, with Darby Allen, knowing that he's going to do at least one of these a match, and he's on television, let's say 60 times a year, unless he gets injured or something, it works. Him taking Daredevil spots is the equivalent of Mick Foley in the late 80s, early 90s. He's a guy that you don't think is going to be here in 5 years unless he slows that down, but at the same time, it's part of his draw. So ringside doctor checks on both men. and we jump to commercial. I hate when matches go into commercial, but I understand it's part of the beast. The bell rings and strikes early. Tease of a superplex, but Allen blocks it. And in an interesting turn of events, Allen, who always finds innovative offense, and I think it's one of the reasons he's so over, is because you never know what he's going to do, and he doesn't always do things that are conventional to wrestling psychology, which proves that everything doesn't have to be logical, but it has to be logical for the sake of the character, and there's nothing that I don't think Darby Allen wouldn't do to win, especially in a situation like this. So taking off the boot of Sammy Guevara and headbutting the ankle and going after the exposed foot is, par for the course for Darby Allen. Now, I wouldn't want to see someone like Orange Cassidy do it, but for the Darby Allen character, it works. Guevara hits a springboard cutter for a near fall, and then submission maneuvers by Allen in an attempt to get like an MMA-style win. Guevara hit a boots to the face and gets a near fall. Somewhere along the way, Allen gets hit stiff because he's bleeding from the nose here. We go into the second commercial break, back from which there's a suicide dive that hits the barricade, does Allen. I'm not a fan of suicide dives. I don't like them. If I see one per event, I'm good. If I see two on a very, 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 very rare occasion, that's fine. If I see more than two, and on most wrestling shows across the world right now, there's more than two suicide dives. Let's get the logic of the suicide dive. Okay, I am going to run as fast as I possibly can from the place where I can win the match. I am going to leap in the air like an acrobat. I am going to leap towards my opponent, and he is supposed to hate me, so he should want to see me die. Instead, he somehow manages always to be standing in such a way that he can catch me. ... dive, ... stupid. So I'm really not a fan of dives to the outside. Anyway, so Guevara barely hits a 630 splash, and there's a force of a break of a pin attempt. Finish with Allen hitting a stunner, followed by Guevara tries to hit a by the hammer, and Allen blocks it and rolls through into the last supper for the pin. Good win for Darby Allen. Glad to see him advancing in the tournament. I think personally, if I were booking, he'd be the one to win the championship. I don't think that's where we're going. I think it's going on Lance Archer. I'm pretty sure that's where we're going, so that him and Cody have something to do with each other for an extended length of time. But that's just speculation on my part. It's just the telegraph is there for that particular story. So, welcome Matt Hardy cuts promo. Hardy versus Guevara, possible from this. And it looks like Matt Hardy's going to go through the inner circle. Yeah, to me, broken Matt Hardy should care about his legacy and therefore winning championships. But if he wasn't allowed to win a McMahon line, it would be the way to go, right? Like, to me, his target should be whoever holds the heavyweight championship, or you hold off giving him a target until you crown the TNT champion, and then you give him that championship feud to latch on to. Again, this is a grassroots promotion. This is a different promotion than average. This is a promotion that, in a lot of ways, is the advent of social media catching fire and its fans having a very persuasive voice. That being said, fact, Matt Hardy has 1 million followers. Fact, Matt Hardy's been ahead of the social media curve for more than a decade. Fact, the subsect of his fans are very passionate. Fact, the individuals who AEW wants as fans are passionate fans. So To me, I don't know what Matt Hardy's getting paid. I would assume he's getting paid close to top dollar, what with leaving WWE behind and probably ending his career with AEW, leaving his brother. But you've got to think that when Jeff ends with WWE, that he'll go over to AEW and with his brother and do one last Hardy Boys run, I think. And to be honest, I think that's why Vince is manipulating over in WWE and giving Jeff a decent story right now. You give him a decent story, and maybe he'll stay with his contracts up. I don't think that's the way Jeff Hardy works, and certainly working, even if he works every Dynamite 52 dates a year, probably closer to 30, 35 dates a year. Even Jeff Hardy can do that for another 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, at some point it becomes the ergonomics of what makes sense in the face of what is here. Hardy says that he never got a response from Jericho. Maybe Jericho doesn't want to come to the compound. Hardy also says that broken match is too intense for Jericho. Again, this feud would mean a lot more to me if Jericho still has a championship. There's nothing for them to really fight over. Matt Hardy is out. He broke the gimmick appears. Addresses Jericho, says he's known him for 2 decades. Says he's got to back his friends in the Elite and won't let Jericho use it as his platform. Hardy vowed to take care of Sammy Guevara and Jericho and all of the inner circle. Decent promo. Not where I would go with the feud, but it's okay. Next up, Kenny Omega against Alan Angels. Jericho is calling Angels everything but his actual last name. We call him Angles. We call him Angles. We call him Anglos. We call him just about everything we can. Alan Angels, I believe, comes out of the Georgia A.R. Fox school. Correct me in comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure when I've seen him before, it's been affiliated with A.R. Fox's school. Good kid. Got some talent. Should not have had this much offense with Kenny Omega. I'm annoyed at this. Beyond repair. Look, pro wrestling is about one guy being better than another guy, or one lady being better than another lady, or one team being better than another team, which means matches are not supposed to be 50-50 or close to it. There is no reason that a no-name talent who has no backstory, who has no reason to be on the program except that coronavirus has taken over the world, should be getting this much offense against a guy who, ostensibly, according to, if you read the wrestling newsletters, is considered one of the best in the world for the last several years. It's stupid. It's like saying, my name is Backyard Bob. I am a wrestler. I know lots of moves. Therefore, I win lots. No, that is not how you tell a story. And it's also not how you unfold things in a national level promotion. Angels, rather. Jericho's got me doing it now. Hits a series of moves and, 10 times and uses of the ring skirt, several near falls. Omega misses V-trigger, but manages to hit a Snapdragon. This kid kicks out of the V-trigger, which is one of Omega's finishes, and just why? May I quote the 25th letter of the alphabet? Why do you give a kid that nobody knows this much offense on national television? And not only that, but if it's your finish, it's like would in MMA, if a guy goes for, say his normal way of finishing a match, we'll go to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was a woman who, when she fought and was in her prime, she'd snap your arm like a twig, right? So her going for an armbar was a big thing, and the crowd would rumble every time she went for it. Now, that would be the same as if if Ronda Rousey's in the middle of a big fight, and she goes for the armbar, she almost gets it in, she looks at the camera, and then shrugs her shoulders and says, nah, and punches the girl in the kidneys. In a real fight, that's not going to happen. If there's money on the line, if there's rankings on the line, if there's potential title shots on the line, that's not going to happen. Similarly, it shouldn't happen here. One of the flaws in the elite philosophy, which, look, I'm not, as much as I'm an old school guy, I understand that the wrestling business has evolved, and I understand that it's much more about moves now than it is about storytelling, which makes me sad, but get over it or stop watching, right? But, same time, this is not the place on national television where we book our friends and let them do whatever they want to do because it's fun. If you want to do that, go do it in a VFW hole somewhere, not on national TV. It's not rocket science, folks. Anyway, Scorpio Sky gets a video package. I wish they'd done this with him earlier. He's got a lot of meat on him. I wish he was a little bit younger. I think he's got a huge upside. So here's the backstory of the video package. Sky says he wanted to be a wrestler as long as he could remember. Suffered a serious back injury about 12 years ago. Was told that he would never wrestle again. Says he doesn't believe in miracles but got one anyway. Then he says that he was going to quit wrestling, but put it out there and give it one more shot. The formulation of SCU in 2017 changed everything for him. Then we go to another video package. They play the Road to video where Dustin Rhodes vows to retire if he can't beat Kip Sabian in the other championship qualifying match tonight. Okay. Now, again, they've botched what could be a major thing. Dustin Rhodes has 32 years of experience. Dustin Rhodes is probably one of the most recognizable, at least top 5, 7, most recognizable faces in AEW to a mainstream audience that isn't familiar with the independents. Dustin Rhodes retiring should be a big freaking deal. Now, the fact that they just throw it out there as a stipulation means at some level somebody that's writing for AEW is getting somewhat desperate. Because the only thing I can think that would make them do this would be if there's a thought that they're losing ratings to NXT and they need extra spike kicks to get people to stay with them. But here's the thing. Number one, Kip Sabian, no disrespect meant to the man, never met the guy, probably never will, would like to, but probably never will. But I don't understand why he's in the final segment of anything associated with Dynamite at this point in his career. They haven't done enough to build him up to make me care about him. He's just an average to above average independent wrestler with no backstory. Why is he in the main event of anything? Why? I was surprised when he was in the tournament, to be honest. I think he was only in the tournament because of the coronavirus and they had a limited number of talents to choose from, and so he found himself there. But if they're going to do the storyline that says Dustin Rhodes is going to retire, it should have been, and I'm just going to cut a mock promo here, but something like, over 3 decades of my life, I've given over 3 decades of my life. And there was times that I was given up on. There was times that the places I worked quit on me. There was times they told me I didn't have it. Hell, there was times I thought I didn't have it. That all changed when All In took place a couple of years ago. That all changed when I stood across the ring from my brother and we had an epic battle that wrestling fans will remember for the ages. Now I'm over 50 years old. At this point in wrestling, I'm the old man. I'm the Chuck Liddell of my generation. I'm the guy that everyone should say is ready to quit. But I'm not. Except, one thing bothers me. As the son of a plumber, as the son of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, as the son of a 3-time NWA champion, as the son of a man who put WCW on his back and carried it for years, it bothers me. It bothers me that I've never gotten the shot to get the championship. Cody has, and I'm happy for him, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you that part of me isn't jealous. Part of me isn't just a little bit jealous. So maybe I'll never be the guy. Maybe I'll never be the guy to carry a company. Maybe I'll never be a guy to be like a Chris Jericho or John Moxley, but they got this new championship. TNT Championship. It's like dynamite. It's explosive, man. Less than a year on television, and the network is so behind us, they want to give us a belt that they're going to name after the network? I want that. I want my name to be in the history books as the first man to hold that championship. No, that's not true. I don't want it. I need it. Because after 32 years, I still wonder if I got it. Still wonder if I've earned the right to be called a history man. You know what? I'll put my money where my mouth is. If I don't win and become the first AEW TNT champion, I'll retire. Because if I don't have that championship belt, I don't want to be here. You got to know when to hold them. Got to know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. And if I don't win, I'll walk away. Now, I didn't write that. That's off the top of my head. And I'd really, if anybody's listened this far in the audio, I'd love to hear somebody's feedback on that promo. Would you buy a ticket? Would you tune in if that was the premise? And even if you give the feel-good moment for 1 week, he wins, and then Archer beats him in a rematch 2 weeks later, right? There's a story. Everybody knows that older person who wants one more run. Maybe it's their dad, maybe it's their mom, maybe it's their uncle, maybe it's their aunt. Everybody knows that person who's given their life to something, never been the full star, and wants one more time in the spotlight. That's an easy story to tell. And I think they're leaving money on the table by not telling it. Anyway, so we move on to Jimmy Havoc and Orange Cassidy. Not my favorite match. But it's because, and I'm going to be very honest here, I don't get Jimmy Havoc. No disrespect. Don't know the guy. I don't get it. If I had to book it, I would pass it off to somebody else because I don't get it that much. Match went too long. And for as sinister as Havoc is, he should be 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes tops in every match he does because he's so violent to make him stand out. Havoc hits several dominant moves, chokes Cassidy with his own gear, crotch Cassidy on the barricade, hits a lazy splash on the floor, hits a DVD, makes fun of the hands thing. Cassidy finally makes a comeback, hits a crossbody swing DDT, and match broke down into chaos. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't understand why she's out there in the first place. Comes out, jumps on the apron, chucks Taylor, pulls her off. Instead, Ford does a split on the apron. Kip Sabian flew in with a top rope move, and then wipes out Taylor and Trent. Cassidy tripped Havoc and used a crucifix for the finish of the pin. So here's the deal. Jimmy Havoc has been like the most sinister guy for a while, right? Stapling things to people's heads and violent and sinister and sadistic. And he can't be a comedy character? Logical, doesn't make sense. Havoc gets his heat back with the DDT after the match, and then we're going to see some sort of rematch multi-person probably next week. MJF cuts a promo. He says he's at, quote, his rat's house, unquote, in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Says he suffered a hangnail while gambling a few weeks ago on Dynamite. It says it's been life-threatening, requiring surgery. He will return and win the AEW Championship. Good to see him on TV. I don't know that this was the best use of him. If I'm writing this, he's MJF. He's the Elite. He's, you people. Thousands of you are dying all over the world because of this coronavirus. And I'm getting emails, I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting smoke signals. I'm getting begs from women knocking on my door at 3 a.m. Where's MJF? Where's MJF? Where's MJF? You want to know? I'm sitting at home because if you think I'm going to leave my house for you people, you got another thing coming. You see, MJF is one of the best in the world. He is the future of AEW, the future of pro wrestling, the future of combat sports, the future of everything and anything that matters. And if you think I'm leaving my house to breathe the same air as you commoners, to inhale the droplets of sewage and sickness from around me, you've got another thing coming. I'm MJF. I'm coming out of my house for one thing, and one thing only, and only at the right time, and it's the AEW Heavyweight Championship of the World. Jon Moxley, you think you're a tough guy? I think you're a dumb guy. You're out there being the people's voice. You're out there being the man who speaks for the wrestling community. You think they care about you, John? You think they won't cheer louder for somebody else when somebody else beats you? The fans are fickle, John. You remember the faction you were part of in that other place? And how when you turned on them, people talked about whether your partners or you would be worth anything? And why should we believe you that you're going to be a fighting champion, John? Heck, you left your wife to fend for herself up north. So if you'd abandon your own wife, you're going to tell me you wouldn't abandon these people? Come on now. I'm MJF. I will be your third AEW heavyweight champion of the world. Why? Because I'm Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I'm better than you. You know it. You accept it. And you got to learn to like it. And again, there's a pro that makes sense within the character. Sometimes I think they're throwing together pre-tapes just to get something out there and not thinking about what would my character say in character, in the world events, in the surroundings of what's there. Wardlow against Lee Johnson. Quick squash, nobody cares. Wardlow hits suplexes, hits an F10 for the win. We see a Brodie Lee Dark Order video. A Dark Order hopeful has his girlfriend break up with him by voicemail. First world problems, anyway. So he gets injured in a college football game and turns to Dark Order website. He then hopeful meets with Lee, who asks how tall he is, asks him what he weighs, asks whether he has played college football, and he answers right. And so he is now a member of the Dark Order. They could have done so much more with this. They could have, hey, pal, do you put ketchup on your steak? Hey, pal, do you like supplements? I've heard of the thing called IcoPro. I mean, they could have gone a million ways with it just to poke at WWE, but they didn't, which makes me sad. Anyway, Marco Stunt taunted Lee from the audience. They stood him down, and ultimately they will have a match sometime soon. Best Friends versus Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian was set up in a backstage promo. Let's see. Brodie Lee versus Marco Stunt was announced for next week. Double main event of both tournament semifinals also announced for next week. Another episode of the Bubbly Bunch. I don't like this, so I'll skip through it real quick. Basically, Sammy Guevara says he's not happy. They do some dancing to cheer everybody up. Jericho says the winner of the dance-off will get a prize. The prize is hand sanitizer. That part of the segment was golden. And then Guevara won the dance contest. Let's see. Hype video plays for the main event. We have strong promos from each guy. And then we go to our TNT Championship Tournament match. Rhodes with Brandy versus Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford. I don't know. I didn't like the match, but I don't like Sabian, so it's kind of, maybe I have a bias. To me, this is not how you main event a program. I would have flip-flopped. I would have put Rhodes and Sabian in the first segment and Allen and Guevara in the last segment. Leaves them with something crazy. Anyway, Rhodes takes the early part of the match, works over the arm. Ford gets involved, allowing her man to take over. Penalty kick by Sabian. We go into commercial. Sabian works over the leg. Good selling by Rhodes. Big surprise. And a near fall with a crucifix. Sabian hits near the chest and uses the lariat for the near fall. Several near falls traded back and forth. Rhodes make a comeback with a bunch of signature spots, including but not limited to the power slam. Sabian cuts Rhodes off and hits a DDT for the near fall. Referee's distracted. Ford jumps on the ring. Brandy jumps in and gets her with a spear. The finish on Rhodes make it to his feet and hit a code red for the pin on Sabian. So Rhodes advances to the, semifinals. Show's going to go off the air. Tony Khan just told Tony Schiavone in his ear that Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc versus Best Friends next week in a no DQ match is set. And, lackluster way to close the show. But overall, a really good episode of Dynamite. What are your thoughts? Comment below, like, subscribe. I'll be back probably within a couple hours with a Impact Rebellion Night 1 review, as well as an NXT review, then the news segment, and some Smoky Mountain. So lots of stuff today. Basically, just so people understand, I run multiple businesses, and YouTube is going to be my main focus in all of my downtime for the next 2 or 3 months to build up to get monetized so we can give some money to charity for folks that are struggling with the coronavirus. That's just a plan for the channel in case you're wondering why I'm here so much. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.